All right, Kevin back with you for another episode of the $1 Million Relationships Podcast. And today I'm here with Jeff. And Jeff, I totally forgot. Even though we've had several conversations before, I've totally have forgotten all of this to even ask you, how do you pronounce your last name?
That's a very common question, as you might guess. I'm usually known as Jeff K, but it's Kruszyna.
Kruszyna. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Very good. Very good. Yeah. I mean, man, we've had a number of conversations, and through all of those, we've just been talking, we've calling you Jeff, you know? And
Yeah,
so,
yeah,
so that's good
yeah.
to know. That's good to know. So, well, I'll tell you, I want to start off. I want to give a shout out to Kurt and Kristen because man, Kurt and Kristen Ludhart, they are just some amazing entrepreneurs. I
Mhm.
have just thoroughly enjoyed getting to know them and just been doing some really cool stuff with those guys. And they are the one who introduced you and I.
Mhm.
And I'll tell you, that is so powerful. And what a testament right there to the power of relationships, which of course is what this podcast is all about. Because when somebody comes through an introduction like that,
Mhm.
it carries so much weight and so much power because of the relationship that I already had with Kurt. And so when Kurt comes in and says, Kev, I want to connect you with Jeff, and here's why. I mean, man, I am all in
Mhm.
because of the relationship that I've got with Kurt and stuff. And so yeah, you look like you might have wanted to share something there too. So I want to make sure I
Yeah,
don't
I would just
trample.
say, Kurt and Kristen have been a tremendous help as my business partner and I kind of launched this venture. I got a chance to be on their podcast. Shout out to their Liberty Spenders podcast as well.
Yeah, yeah,
Love everything they do with Prosper Group and now with Liberty Spenders. So yeah, for
yeah.
folks, definitely check that out as well.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And they are just, yeah, they're doing some amazing things and they're just such giving and caring people. They just
Mhm.
they're all about making their biggest impact in the world. And that's what I love about them and stuff. And of course, Jeff, that's what you guys are all about too. And so I want to start I want to turn it over to you so that we can set a little bit of context. And I'm going
Mhm.
to go broad on this. And the reason
Okay.
I go broad on as I explain this is I just want to give you the leeway to talk about what feels right for you and what's on your heart today. But I want you to be able to share about, what you do, who you
Mhm.
serve, what inspires you most about the work you
Sure.
guys are doing, the impact you're making, and also share some of the backstory, Jeff, of how
Mhm.
you got into this, because every entrepreneur has an amazing story,
Mhm.
and I want to hear some of yours and make sure we share that too.
Sure. So I guess for starters, I'm originally from New York, born and raised out in Southampton on Long Island. Went to college out there at SUNY Stony Brook, and was really then and there on campus during my freshman first semester. 9/11 happened, which was about ground zero was about 45 minutes to an hour away from the university.
Okay.
And that really obviously had a huge impact on just sort of my trajectory. Like I initially thought I was going to college to do something in computer science and IT, and quickly pivoted within a couple months post 9/11 to changing my major from computer science to political science, completely different kinds of
Wow.
sciences altogether,
Yep.
and really getting engaged both politically and within the conservative movement, connecting with folks at Young America's Foundation and Leadership Institute and organizations like that really kind of helped shape my worldview and get more knowledgeable about world events and American politics and really kind of set me on this path to, being a direct response fundraiser, serving Republican political campaigns, conservative advocacy groups, Christian charities, and anything and everything in between. Even, some for-profit Christian film distribution, things like that.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, that was sort of the genesis of how I got into this industry.
Yeah. Yeah. So, talk about kind of because you guys have made a pivot and stuff, and so talk about where you're at right here, right now, today.
Yeah, so I mean, we've my business partner Joe Bogger and I individually have been doing what it is that we do in direct response fundraising for about 20 years apiece, serving the political and nonprofit worlds. But really, our heart is to evangelize and spread the gospel. So that comes with partnering with other organizations, other types of back to Kurt and Kristen, other liberties spender, patriot economy type folks, to really, folks, vote with the dollars and their pocketbooks too. So whether that's supporting a campaign or a cause, or buying books and DVDs, streaming, coffee, telephone service, a la Patriot Mobile, all things are kind of within our purview, and as we kind of build and expand, that's on the horizon for us too.
Yeah. And you guys, I'm just going to put this out there because what I know about guys like you, Jeff, and guys like Joel, and people like Kurt and Kristen is that, the more of an expert that somebody really is, the more, what's the right word I'm looking for? The bigger results that they've been able to get for people in their lives, the more humble they are. And you guys are totally that way. And so I'm just going to put this out there, and I want to get this on the record because you guys have raised over $250 million for the people that you guys have served. And so I just want to get that on record because I know you're not going to do it, man, because you guys don't talk about that. But I want to get that on the record because
Sure.
it gets people to like perk up a little bit and realize, okay, Jeff just isn't this guy in the back bedroom plunking on a keyboard and stuff. These guys have got some doggone results. And
Yeah,
so I want to
yeah. I
set that
mean,
tone.
thank you for that. I definitely shy away from the humble brag, but yeah, thank you. We've had each of us have had a tremendous career, both separately and now together, to be able to really move the needle on a lot of different areas, whether it's electing certain political candidates, or advancing certain policies, and most importantly, advancing God's kingdom across the globe, in everything that we do.
Yeah. Yeah. Amen. I love it. I love it. Okay. So now that we've got a little bit of context set here, we're going to switch gears a little bit. And I'm going to reiterate the question that I always ask on, and for the benefit of our listeners. So, Jeff, have you ever been introduced to a person or persons who completely changed the course of your life or your business, so much so that much of what you have today would not be possible if not for this person or persons? And Jeff, I'm just really excited to hear your story and your experience around this topic of relationships.
Sure. I mean, for starters, before graduating college and pursuing this career, I'd say my grandfather Mitchell Kruszyna, which I named my son after him. So my son's middle name is Mitchell, or Mietek, as they say in Polish. Was a huge influence on my life early on. Really, as a grandfather, but a father figure in my life. Yeah, he grew up in Poland, and was a teenager when World War II broke out, and
Wow.
served in the Polish Guard, and in Western Germany, at the tail end of the war, and from there, you know ended up immigrating to the United States, and ultimately settling where it is that I grew up, out in Southampton, New York. And really, I mean, his work ethic and, just blue collar values, hard work, and, coming here, didn't speak the language, didn't, read English,
Uh-huh.
completely self-taught. And ultimately, was entrepreneurial in his own right, and built, his own sort of landscaping and property management business, catering to a lot of the bigger estates out in what everyone calls the Hamptons.
Uh-huh.
Uh, and so yeah, I mean, to this day, I mean, I still wear his ring on my finger,
Wow.
or around my neck on a chain, as a reminder of just sort of the impact that he's had. And just as a quick aside, I recently did for my mom for this last Christmas. I got her one of those legacy box kits where you can send in a bunch of old photos and they'll digitize them. So
Okay.
we literally just got the downloads back on Monday. So, poring over those and seeing a lot of, photos of my grandfather, both in Poland as a teenager, and then throughout his life. He passed back in 2007. But still obviously has, is having an impact through me and my family to this day.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Wow. That's awesome. What a great tribute to him that those photos must be for you and for your family and stuff.
Yeah, no, it's great. Love technology now, where, now those photos are digitized and
Yep.
will live on, beyond, just, in a manila folder, tucked away somewhere, in the basement of my mom's house.
Yeah. 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 Well, yeah, and you mentioned you have a few other people that you'd like to honor too, and I want to make sure we give you the opportunity to do that.
Sure. So I guess when it comes to kind of the industry that I'm in, direct response fundraising, there's a number of folks that have definitely helped along the way. I mean, there's pioneers like the Richard Vigories and Richard Normans and Bruce Eberleys that kind of created and grew the industry back, in the late 60s through today. They're all still in one way, shape, or form, actively helping and working in this space. But really, I mean, when I look at before jumping and creating this company of ours, I spent 17 years at another firm, and two of the founding partners there, Jamie Hogan and Amy Paul, definitely radically helped me, learn what it is that I do. Amy, on the, she's still hands down to this day the most talented conservative copywriter out there. So she taught me how to develop creative strategies, write copy, design, all of that. The one-to-one kind of donor communication that we do. And then sort of more on the business building side of things, Jamie Hogan was and still is a mentor of mine to this day. Teaching me how to think analytically and not just kind of you know not just focus on one area, but be an expert on all things that touch fundraising. So not just good old fashioned postal mail, which is still our bread and butter, but especially now with AI and peer-to-peer texting and all the latest greatest fundraising channels, and it's ever evolving. The lessons of always be curious and always kind of studying and learning, and not uh kind of being stuck in the with the mindset of like, oh, I already know that.
Yeah.
I mean, there is a place for your gut um reaction or response. And obviously after 20 years of doing this, you do obviously develop a track record and a history to draw from. But the always be learning, always look to improve, is something, I mean, not just for direct mail, but in business in general, is definitely words of wisdom that I try to hold true to this day.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. So I want to dig a little bit deeper, and I'm sure you'd be able to come up with a number of examples of this, but I just want to encourage you to just come up. The first thing that comes up, it'll just pop top of mind for you. But what is an example of a situation where you personally got to make a really substantial impact. And maybe even in the moment, maybe it even surprised you a little bit. But
Mhm.
you also know that that would have never happened if not for your relationship with any of the people that you've already talked about. What's an example of something like that, Jeff?
Sure. I mean, the first one that pops to mind was actually one of the first letters that I crafted for an old client that was supporting these Border Patrol agents in 2006, maybe early 2007, that were wrongfully imprisoned. And we did this whole campaign to hopefully get them a presidential pardon. At the end of the story, they did have their sentences commuted, so they're not in prison to this day. But early on, we did a Father's Day appeal asking donors to not just give to support their quest for a pardon, but also to, you know, make an impact on these two border agents' lives as they're away from their families, and sign this Father's Day card and send it back. And a few months later, the client that we did this appeal on behalf of actually got a handwritten note from one of the Border Patrol agents that I still, I can remember to this day, that said something along the lines of, with God by our side and organizations such as yours, we will persevere and get through this tough season. And I remember like printing out a photocopy of that letter and having it, on the fridge of my apartment early on in my career as a reminder of, yes, we're fundraising and spreading the word, and hopefully, ultimately, in this case, getting the attention of the current administration and influential folks in Washington, D.C., but ultimately like having an impact tangibly on these two men. And, at the time they were, young. One of them, was away in prison while his wife gave birth to their son. So all
Wow.
that sort of that personal impact that we still drive to this day for other clients in different ways.
Yeah.
But that was definitely one of the earliest signs of like I think this is my calling. I'm in the right spot and working with the right people and really having a profound impact on on the families of those two agents and beyond.
Yeah. And what a beautiful thing that is to just, like you said, have this just knowing that I'm in the right spot doing the right thing,
Mhm.
and I'm doing it with the right people for the right reasons. When
Mhm.
we just like know that and we just
Mhm.
have that confidence and we just know that, uh, man, it makes it a whole lot easier. Well,
Yeah.
it the right people just get attracted to us,
Right.
because they
Right.
can totally sense that about us and stuff. And they're like, man, I think you can help me. And that is a beautiful spot to be in. That is such a beautiful spot to be in. And so,
Yeah.
Jeff, I really just want to thank you for taking the time to have this conversation today and just share from your heart a little bit. And for anybody that's listening to this, going, man, Kev, I really love Jeff, and I love who he is. I love how he shows up. And maybe they'd like to, find out a little bit more about what you guys are doing and stuff. Any
Sure.
websites, any resources we can share with them?
Sure. Our website is pretty easy. It's just jmkvictory.com. And we're on all the social medias between X and Facebook, LinkedIn. I'm sure you'll link all those
Yes.
profiles in the show notes as well, but pretty easy to spot. And if you can somehow spell my last name, you can definitely find me pretty easy. Uh,
Well, we'll make sure we include the correct spelling of your last name in the show notes too and stuff. So, well, Jeff, any last thing you feel led to share before we call it a wrap?
I would just, like to thank you for all that you do. I got a chance, obviously, through Kurt and Kristen to meet you, and then You invited me to kind of that mastermind roundtable that
Yeah.
I really didn't know what to expect. And as I was telling you before we started filming, it was just such a awe-inspiring time with folks that I plan to develop more close knit relationships with.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you certainly, you found your calling and your gifting to connect people and do what you do. So happy to help you and your mission to advance these connections and build businesses together and drive revenue and you know for my part, advancing God's kingdom here on earth. As we're approaching Easter season now, as we're filming
Yeah.
right before Good Friday.
Yep. Yep. Well, Jeff, once again, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to have this conversation today. Really appreciate you. And I'm excited to get this out there and share it with a lot of folks. So thanks again, Jeff.
Awesome. Thank you, Kevin.